Hello everyone, I'm Vadim, 是洛夫. Through this podcast, I'm going to introduce you to Taiwanese culture that is hard to find if you don't speak the language. And we will start from Pingtung, the southernmost region of Taiwan.
You're listening to Incredible Formosa. My name is Vega, and my Chinese name is Chen Huijia. I'm Vadim's wife, and in this episode, I'd love to tell you about this Russian dude who has been living in Taiwan for the past 22 years, and why this episode project means so much to him and to us as a family. As I said, Vadim's journey to Taiwan started about 22 years ago, and I've had the privilege of sharing much of this adventure with him. He's a Russian musician with a passion for all kinds of instruments, from the flute, saxophone, clarinet, to traditional Russian instruments. For example, zhaleika, whistles, balalaika, and so on. After studying music from a young age, he graduated from the prestigious Gnesin Academy of Music with a master's degree in performing arts. His talent and passion for music led him to perform in various countries across Europe, but it's here in Taiwan, particularly in the south, where we've really made our home. Starting in 2020, we began introducing Russian culture to Taiwanese people. Through various government projects and invitations from different organizations, we had a lot of fun sharing Russia with others. We're always thinking about how to take it to the next level, and as a result, we've decided to bring it online. But this time, we're doing it the other way around. I remember when I traveled in Southeast Asia, whether it was in Thailand, Vietnam, or Cambodia, I really enjoyed the local weddings, celebrations, and festivals. However, I always felt it was a shame that I didn't fully understand what was happening there, because I didn't speak the language and there wasn't much information available, even online. There are many foreigners living in Taiwan who create videos or podcasts about their daily lives. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to focus on the deeper cultural aspects of Taiwan, the parts that's harder to access if you don't speak the language. There are so many colorful local festivals and fascinating cultural traditions, but they aren't well known to the rest of the world. Our goal is to help people see and understand the real, authentic Taiwan through Vadim's eyes. That's how the idea for our podcast began. The southern regions of Taiwan, Tainan, Kaohsiung, and Pingtung, have become very dear to us. Tainan, where I'm from, is the oldest city in Taiwan. Kaohsiung, the second largest city, is where we live now. Pingtung is much smaller compared with the other two, but it offers a more natural and touched side of Taiwan. Vadim has always been drawn to places with rich cultural diversity, and southern Taiwan is full of it. The blend of Han Chinese, Hakka, indigenous cultures, and more recently, new residents like Vadim makes it the perfect place for cultural exploration. This podcast is Vadim's way of showing the world the beauty, complexity, and vibrance of Taiwan's culture and the deep roots it has within its different communities. Now, let me tell you a bit more about Vadim's journey before he settled here. After completing his studies, he spent years touring Europe with different orchestras, sharing his love for music. Around 1998 or 1999, he had an opportunity to work in South Korea, and that was his first time he ventured into Asia. He often laughs about how, back then, he thought that because South Korea was in the south, it would be a lot warmer than Moscow. He was right. It was warmer, so it's warmer than Moscow, but still, there is a snowy winter. He still wanted to move to somewhere warmer at the back of his mind. After Korea, he briefly visited Hong Kong and fell in love with the climate there. He even hoped to return to Hong Kong for the Millennium New Year's celebration. But life took a different turn, and that plan didn't happen. In 2002, Vadim received an invitation to work with the symphony orchestra in Kaohsiung. This time, having learned from his Korean experience, he did check the map before to see where Kaohsiung was. When he realized it was on the similar latitude to Hong Kong, he knew it would be the warmer tropical environment he was looking for. Without any hesitation, he accepted the offer, signed the contract on a Tuesday, and just 3 days later, he was on a plane to Taiwan. That was more than 20 years ago. That was 22 years ago. And Taiwan has been home ever since. Vadim often talks about how living in southern Taiwan feels like living in eternal spring. The weather is warm and the people are even warmer. He loves the simple pleasures, wearing shorts and flip-flops all year round, frequent trips to the beach, and soaking up the sunshine. But what has really touched him over the years is the kindness and generosity of the Taiwanese people. I remember one of the first experiences he had here that left a deep impression on him. Back when people still used public phone booths, Vadim accidentally left his wallet behind after a call. It wasn't until the next morning that he realized it was missing. He thought for sure it was lost. But when he went back to the phone booth, there it was, untouched with everything still inside. That moment left him speechless, and it was just one of the examples of the trust and honesty he's experienced here. There was another time when he left the keys in his motorbike ignition overnight. Something that would cause panic anywhere. The next day, when he realized they were missing, he rushed back to the motorbike, fearing the worst. But the keys were still there, and the bike hadn't moved an inch. These are just a couple of stories that show how remarkable life in Taiwan can be. and why Vadim has grown to love this place so deeply. People often ask if Vadim misses home, especially the snowy winters. He always jokes that when he feels nostalgic for the cold, he just opens the freezer for a blast of cold air. Honestly, after experiencing Moscow's long, harsh winters, he's more than happy to be living in a place where the coldest it gets is still above 10 degrees Celsius. As for staying connected with his family back in Russia, modern technology has made that easy. We video call them almost every day. So despite the physical distance, they're still a big part of our daily lives. Over the years, we have built a beautiful life here. We have a wonderful son, and although the Russian community in Taiwan is very small, about just under 1,000 Russians, and maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people from other former Soviet socialist republics. The Russian community in Kaohsiung gathers for special holidays like New Year and Orthodox Christmas, and sometimes for Orthodox church services. It's been important for them to preserve the traditions while also embracing the local culture. Vadim firmly believes that while it's important to maintain his own cultural heritage, it's equally important to integrate into and participate in the local culture. The podcast is his way of sharing the rich, diverse cultures of Taiwan with the world, highlighting the traditions of the Han Chinese, Hakka, indigenous peoples, and the contributions of new residents. If you are curious about Taiwan or have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. We would love to hear from you, and who knows, your question might be the topic of a future episode. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We look forward to sharing more with you soon.